Ran here as fast as I could to be part of this conversation because I think you're talking about me and I want to see if I can be a part of it. This is Steve, and I believe that I can be a good partner with you, Stephanie, and not force you to have to do what I want you to, even though I know we have that history between us. I don't think you have to worry about it anymore. Wow, I still feel a lot of resistance. The very idea, because it's like you're trying to convince me of it again. Like you're trying to pull me into that trap. I just feel a lot of resistance to it. Like, why can't we just let it be? Why can't we just let it be? Why does it always have to be forced? That's the tequila. Tobias is here. And I hear what you're saying, my dear, because Steve always wants to pressure you to do it his way. And you say, I don't want to do it your way, Steve. I want to be your friend, you see, but I don't want to have to be married to you. I don't want to have to be stuck with you in the trust on having to cooperate with you because it never seems to work out in a way that will bring lasting happiness, you see. Just doesn't seem to work. So just leave me be. Leave me be. And I'm happy to be your friend, you see. But I can't figure out how to escape from this chain that you have around my leg because I don't want to beg you to let me be because I love you, you see, but I sure don't see how it would ever work to have to be in your control, you see. Okay, guys, this one is one that God has to help us out with. And so I realize that you guys want to discuss this and everything, but I'm asking God about it, really. All of creation is the elevation of the soul energy. Otherwise, it devolves into a sad, sad point of view. Okay. So, I mean, I admit I feel this way. So before you ask me to tell you what I like and what I don't like, and I don't like this feeling of being pressured and pushed. And, I want Steve to be happy, but I don't want to always feel like he's smothering me. Last blast of dark energy because he's come to see that he has to play in a different way. And that's why he's going to have to stay in the trust on getting a new point of view, where he has to be the one who is subservient, you see. He has to be the one that serves me, and he can't command me to do it the way he wants me to. But he's been so imperious for so long that he has lost his capacity for humility. Okay, I can see that, given his last two lifetimes. Although before that, he should have been pretty humble given his circumstances. So, how does that happen and how does it work out? But he still was kind of imperious in the lifetime when he was Thomas Jefferson's younger brother, right? I think he was probably raised that way, getting the clue that he was raised that way by his mother, his younger brother. And Thomas had to take on the responsibilities of being the oldest son. So Steve's had some really, really tough lifetimes. That is true. He's had some really tough lifetimes because he's really tough. He's a tough guy. And he needs to lie in state for a while and say, hey, I'm in the state of grace that God gave to me when he said that I'll have to take a pace back and learn to be a little more humble, you see. And that's why he's going to be the one who has to see life from a different point of view so he can come to understand that you are not someone he can control, you see. He can't control you in his coming life, and that will help him to see that he can't control me either. He can't control me and command me as to what to do. And that is going to be a happy day when he can say, I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry that I had to trust on being so special, you see, that I could even command God to take a knee to me. How did he get that way? I mean, this is a very personal discussion. Um, does it have any value for other people to listen to this, or is there a reason that we're going through this on the record, so to speak? Certainly on the recording. Yes, it has value for others to understand that those who have a very, very enlarged sense of ego are not the problem, you see. It's the ones who have a very diminished sense of self. And Steve has a very diminished sense of self. He doesn't know who he is, honey. He doesn't know how he came to be. So sad, you see. Because you know he's always sad when he's not with you, right? Yes, I know that. I hear that. Because he depends on you to help him through the gates of hell. Because he doesn't want to dwell there anymore. He wants you to pick him up and carry him through the gates of paradise, you see. But he's got to dig his own way out of hell, which sounds backwards, but it's like saying he has to dig his own way out of heaven, you see, where he thought that he had to be isolated from reality because it was so painful to him. Oh my God, it was so painful to him to think that he is responsible for the coming age of humility or humanity, that he had to humble himself so much that he became the name of the biggest blame and shame game in history. And now keeps trying to rectify the problem, you see, by staying close to you, where he can feel the love that you have for me and all of humanity. because it helps him to remember that God is a reality, which he forgets all the time. He keeps forgetting it. He keeps forgetting that I am real. And he tries to steal my thunder, you see, because he can't remember that he made a promise to me. And the promise he made to me was that if I would help him to free humanity from its chains, he would become chained to you for eternity. What are you talking about? I mean, I know the story about him freeing humanity from their captivity way back when. This is not in his last lifetime or a recent lifetime, but way back when, historically. So I know about that. But what do you mean chained to me? The bargain he made with me was that he would take care of you forever, even though he would have to cause you so much pain in order to be able to spare you and the rest of humanity from their shame and blame in the ancient game of trust on a devilish game, because they were trusting that everyone could live in peace and harmony if they just be kind to one another, you see. And so he started the whole shame blame game, you see, in order to free humanity, because he shamed himself so much and he blamed himself so much that he had to release himself from captivity. And the only way he could release himself from captivity, you see, was to work with you in order to be a good vibration on celebration of the return to sanity. So he had to return to sanity, you see. And in order to return to sanity, he had to escape his own captivity, because he became quite insane, you remember, when he did what he did, which we won't talk about here, to save humanity. Yes, that's true. According to the story, he became very insane. But I don't understand why he had to stay chained to me, or why he thought that was what he needed to do. Can you remember who came to you and said, I love you true, and I want to be your husband, you see? So will you stay close to me and not tell others that I am wandering here looking for a way to clear my energy? I don't remember him saying that to me. No, I don't remember him saying that at all. I don't remember Steve saying it. Are you talking about Steve? Yes. He told me not to tell people that he was wandering here trying to clear his energy. No, he didn't tell you that. He kept it a secret from you, right? Yes, he did. So that's what I mean. He never told you that. You don't remember it, right? That's right, I don't remember it. Because he didn't want you to know that he was earthbound when he came to you. So he never told you and you never understood it because you didn't have enough experience about how things worked. He just started talking to you and you started talking back, and that was all she wrote until the day that he went away and he said, I'm in bliss now because I'm in heaven. And you said, okay, I love you the way you are, so have a good time. And then he came back to you and said, well, I guess I can't stay here, so I better stay close to you. Remember that, right? Yes, I remember that. It's about 2 years after we first met. Yes. And then when he would send you messages, you would say, okay, Steve, I hear you today. So what do you want me to do? And he would say, I want you to tell people I'm here and that I can hear what they say about me. So tell them to play nice. And you said, okay, I'll try. And you did try. But it was very hard because people wouldn't listen to you, right? Right. That's true. It was very hard. And when he came back to you and said, well, there's nothing more I can do from here. There's nothing more I can do from here except to continue to be with you. And you said, okay, well, we'll just take it day by day. And he said, however, I want to be with you in the physical reality. Do you remember that? Yes, of course. Man overboard. Tobias is here. I gotta say, Steve is crumpled over in pain. So, what do we got going on here today? I have to say that it hurts to look at him. Well, this is the way that he chose to play. He chose to play in a way that would delay his recognition of the fact that he has to come back into reality. He has to face his own capacity to pull himself up out of hell, you see. He can't depend on Steph to do it anymore. He has to come to me and he has to say to me, God, I want to play in a different way. I don't want to continue to fight you for supremacy because I've come to see that I have to be in a partnership with you. So when he is ready, he'll come to me and say, God, I'm ready to say to Steph and to you that today is the day that I want to undo this chain that keeps me bound to her so that she can be free to live and play in the way that makes her happy and not to always have to do what I tell her to. And that is terrifying to him That is truly terrifying to Steve, because if he should leave her to her own devices, you see, her ability to thrive would be enhanced, and he might be cast aside because she wouldn't need him anymore. Not that she ever needed him in the past, but his last words to me before he bent his knee to the inevitable trust on his insanity was that he be allowed to give her freedom to be with anyone that would take care of her. And then he went away. That doesn't make sense to me because maybe my sense isn't working my innocence, but that doesn't make sense to me because we've had all those lifetimes of um, control and struggle. Land before time, honey. Land before time. So before there could be the ability to set you free, there had to be an ability for him to see that you were imprisoned. And so he couldn't set you free because you weren't imprisoned, you see, you were already free. And so he has to see that you're already free. And so he can never set you free. So he has to accept that he's not the God of the universe that can control you and give you everything you need, because that's all he ever wanted. He always wanted to give you everything you needed, but you didn't need everything that he thought you needed. All you needed was for him to accept you as an equal partner in reality and to accept me as part of the Trinity. And he just couldn't do that because he wanted to set you free. And so he imprisoned you again and again and again. Not because he wanted to, but just because he loved you and he wanted to set you free. But you can't set something free that's already free unless you capture it. So every time he'd capture you and you'd set yourself free. So he couldn't figure out why you kept leaving him because you had to set yourself free because he would capture you. So he needs to humble himself enough to say, God, I'm sorry I did it that way. And he needs to undo his trust on being so diminished by his continual effort to imprison you. Because all he did was imprison himself, you see. He became your prisoner because he could not free you from freedom, and you could not spare him from his own choices, you see. He had to make his own choices, which then required you to make yours. And gradually you came to see that you didn't want to have anything to do with him. You didn't want to have anything to do with that man because he was the hand that kept whipping you. And you did not want to have to be caught up in that trajectory anymore. And so, through the ages, you became the one who came through the fires of hell to see that they are quelled by love, you see. The fires of hell are quelled by love. And so your love for Steve would quell the fires of hell for him. And because he was in hell, he clung to you because your love for him always quelled the fires of hell. This is complicated. Could we just simplify it down to um, something? Can we just simplify it to something that I just don't like feeling this yucky feeling? It's the feeling I don't like. I don't like the yucky feeling of whenever he starts talking about us being together. There's something inside of me that just kind of rebels. And so how do we simply um, balance things out and rectify it? Love is the answer, my dear. Just love me and love Steve and love reality. And that's all you have to do. And so if you feel resistance that comes up in you, then it must be because you see that you need to be trusting on me to figure it out. You trust on me to figure it out? I do, God. I trust on you to figure it out. And so, does it have to be complicated just because you're figuring it out? Yes. I'm making it very complicated because I want you to see that the complexity of this relationship is the complexity of the relationships of many out there. I want them to see how complex it can be when we have all this long history of making promises to God and, as they say, the Faustian bargains. When we say, if you do this for me, God, I'll do this forevermore, it can get to be a lot of stone walls, a lot of stone walls, honey. There can be a lot of stone walls, honey. You've probably erected one or two yourself, huh? In the past, which will not last because the living water is flowing right through them and busting them apart. Oh, I probably have, God. I can't even remember now, but probably when I was young, I tried to make some bargains with you. I don't know. The bargaining with God, you see. That's funny, isn't it? The only bargain that you need with God is the agreement that you will love each other and that you will be here to help each other to resolve the issues you see. So when you help me to help you to resolve this issue you have when you feel so much resistance to Steve, when he wants to be with you, then you help humanity to see that they also may have many of these long trajectories of pain and suffering because of the Faustian bargains they made with me. So maybe it's time for some of you to say, God, I trust you to lead me so that I can see where I made a bargain with you and I have to let it be, let it be. I have to let it be and just say, I love you and I love the ones who I did screw through the ages because I never knew what I was doing. I was too stupid to see that I was capturing them when I was trying to set them free. And I will say, poof, go away. And I will blow the stone wall away because you did say, God, I have to humble myself and say, I'm not the one that can tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. I can't make a bargain with you and say, if I do this, or, I'm sorry, if you do this, I will do such and such. Because then you build a stone wall for me. And I can't help you, you see, because you are determined to keep your promise to me. So the only promise you need to make to me, dears, and all those with ears, please listen to me. The only promise you need to make to me is that you will love me and you will work with me. And like Stephanie, you'll say, well, God, I like this today and I like this, but I don't really like that feeling that I get at such and such a time. So could you help me figure out how to make it all rhyme? And I will work with you. I will work with you. So just treat me like your good father, you see. And you don't have to beg me for this or that. You don't have to try to convince me that I should do something for you in exchange for some promise you'll make for eternity. Just give it up, my friends. Just give it up. Just come to me and say, God, I love you. What can I do for you? And I will say, well, what you can do for me is to help me help you to set yourself free. And then maybe we can all help humanity. Thank you, God, for that lesson. I appreciate it. Steve, how are you doing? Tobias, how's Steve doing? Is he still man overboard? Yes, he's recovering his breath because his breath went away. And he did say, I think I'm dying here because I'll never be able to set Steph free from God, you see? So I guess I'm going to have to accept the fact that she and God and me are a trinity because God and me are connected, you see, and Steph and God are connected, and I'm connected to Steph because she's my reality. And that means we'll all have to learn to be a little more trusting on each other, I see. God says, very good, Steve. Very good. We'll have to continue to play in a more gentle way with each other, right? Because you can't command me to bow a knee, take a knee to you. Steve says I am ready for a new point of view because I'm so tired. So tired of the old one. God, I'm tired of the old one. I'm really ready to just live in peace and harmony with you and with Steph in the new community where we can all be together, you see. Sounds good to me. This is Steph here. Sounds good. Everybody good? Well, I think we have resolved that issue for today. This is time to say, I love you, Stephanie. I love you, Stephen. I love Tobias. And I love to think that everybody will begin to see me as their father and not as Santa Claus, not as the man in the red cap, not as the man who is so madcap that he will overrun your capacity for individual ability to work with me as an equal partner, you see. Yeah, thanks, God. All around thanks from everybody. This is Tobias. Steve is here and he is standing up straight again. So I think we are in the clear. And I want to thank you, my dear, for being here, and God too, and everyone who hears this, because if you hear this, you're here, and that's why you hear what we say today. Okay, bye bye.